A lot can change in the course of a year. For example, this time last October, we still thought Starfield would release in 2022. Elden Ring hadn't yet changed our lives forever, and we were still going around saying Breath of the Wild 2. In all of that time, Back4Blood has received 2 out of their 3 planned expansions, along with several patches and updates. The first was the slimmer Tunnels of Terror expansion, followed by the recent Children of the Worm DLC, which seemed like a more substantial package. Are they enough to make the game relevant again? We're here as the Co-op Bros to answer that question, but more importantly, see if the game is worth playing with your friends a whole year later.
Alright, come on. I don't care what's in there, it's gonna
We're ready. I got a grenade ready, dude. I got a grenade ready. Oh my god!
Titans!
we weren't ready, dude.
Rumbling.
We weren't ready. Rumbling. Oh, that's too good.
When we finished up our time with Back4Blood a year ago, we smartly titled our review Potential for Fun, which seriously is a pat on the back for us because we kinda nailed it. At launch, there was everything in place for a great co-op title. The card system helped you complement your character choice for diversified classes, the levels had varied objectives that forced you to communicate, the enemies threw off your plans so you had to adapt on the fly, and the gunplay was absolutely top tier. Chef's kiss there for Turtle Rock. But why do we leave saying that the game was just an okay game and probably needed more time in the oven? The balancing, my guys, was awful.
I'm getting squeezed by the tall guy. No, birds!
I'm sorry, what? Where were
How
they?
are we supposed to see them?
Oh, no, I gotta
Yo,
go.
we're gonna die in this area again.
God, that was awful. Special enemies would spawn at an ungodly rate, felt like they had huge health pools, and made several missions an absolute slog. The difficulty spikes took everything good the game had done on the back end and just put it all to waste. The irony is, just hours before we published our review, the developers came out to say that there was actually a bug in the game that was causing special zombies to spawn in doubles, which made a whole lot of sense. So one of the big questions we need to address a year later is, did they in fact fix the balancing issues? Did they unlock the potential the base game showed to us all that time ago? We'd argue yes, they did. During our recent playthrough of both the new content and the old content, we found it much more manageable to get through missions without the frustration of overwhelming difficulty spikes. Specials came at a normal rate, so we could communicate on their locations and respond properly. Plus, they went down easier, which was much preferred for us at least. And that's how a good co-op shooter should be. The specials should divert your attention and make you have to communicate, but not overwhelm you and just make you feel helpless. And that's how we felt on our first playthrough. So overall, we were pleasantly surprised with what we saw. So if you're just now thinking of playing Back4Blood and don't have the expansion pass, we can confirm it's a good time to play through that base campaign. But before you write off the DLC, let's talk about it.
Oh my god, I'm just slicing these.
Sorry, dude, right now I'm watching. It's ridiculous.
Yeah! Oh dang, look at all those zombies over there!
Oh, same idea, bro. Same idea. I was like, alright, here comes the Molotov. Astral plane right there, bro. Astral plane.
Astral plane. That's fine.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Oh, health restore. That's huge. Let's go, dude. I freaking love this Prophet Dan. You joking me?
After all the fixes Andrew mentioned, we were pretty stoked to return to the game now that 2 out of the 3 expansions were out. Released in April earlier this year, the first expansion was titled Tunnels of Terror. It added 3 new enemy variants in the Ripper, Shredder, and Urshan, as well as 2 new cleaners in Charisse and Hang. The biggest addition here though is the new Written Heist activity. So basically, Written Heists are dungeons that can appear in every mission except for the last mission of each chapter. There's 6 different dungeons, each with their own theme, layout, and complexity. They're definitely some of the harder content in the game, as we totally got wrecked a couple times. But like Andrew said, this is the good kind of getting wrecked, not the pulling my hairs out what the heck kind of getting wrecked. There's some cool risk reward happening in the dungeons too, as the deeper you go, the more rewards you could walk away with, but you're always contemplating whether you should have dipped out earlier. See, the ultimate goal is to come out with some sweet legendary weapons and as many skull totems as you can find. What are skull totems? They're a new currency added with this DLC, which lets you buy some new cards that you can't buy with regular supply points. When you consider the whole package as a whole though, this first expansion definitely leaves you a bit underwhelmed. The written highs are a great addition that we really enjoyed, but the rest of the package is pretty much inconsequential since the 2 added cleaners don't really stand out much from the crowd, and there really isn't any new story content. Thankfully, Turtle Rock makes up for all of that in the latest Children of the Worm expansion. Released in August, the second DLC adds a whole new campaign act, a totally unique enemy faction, and arguably the funnest cleaner to play in Prophet Dan. The new campaign is way more memorable than anything the base game tried to do, as the new cultist enemies are just a nice change from the endless zombie horde. Don't worry though, you're still fighting zombies, but just have to dodge arrows and snipers too. How fun. This new act also features some great settings, from a giant cage match in a prison, which was super cool, to a derelict mining cavern. No more small town USA or police stations, which is very nice. One of the highlights though is the addition of Prophet Dan. Aside from his quirky accent, his divine intervention trait is honestly incredible. Essentially, anytime someone is revived, the whole team will receive a random perk. These can range from an extra life to, I don't know, several live frag grenades suddenly materializing. No, that actually happens.
Several live frag grenades appear? What? Oh my god, dude, that's amazing!
Wait, what?
The actual thing that just happened.
The whole divine intervention thing ties in with the occult vibe of the campaign, and the 6 missions were easily more intriguing than the base game's narrative. So, Children of the Worm is clearly a more substantial package than the former expansion. The new campaign feels super unique from the rest of the game, and Prophet Dan can fit into most teams. Plus, he's kinda busted, honestly. Taken as a whole, you can argue that these 2 expansions together add enough content to at least have you thinking, should I dive back in? I'll let my dude tackle that question now.
Oh, they're coming from so many different ways. Okay, I'm gonna get up to this big guy right here. Okay, I got the big guy. Alright, we're good.
Hey, good work, dude. That was awesome.
Sick. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
In case it's not obvious by the heaping praise we've given Back4Blood in this video, our answer is yes, you can return and feel good about it. We enjoyed ourselves coming back to this game a year later and ended our time both saying we'll return for the last expansion whenever that comes out. Most notably, we enjoyed returning to that card system, the standout feature at launch. Receiving new cards that fit the builds that we had already started still felt like a great system, and it plays so well in co-op. I love to see this system in similar co-op games, it really is just that good. And the DLC missions were easily some of the best the whole game has to offer. The objectives were nicely varied, with that minecart run being especially impressive as far as level design is concerned. You're pushing a minecart throughout the level and fighting off hordes as it stalls. You can use that minecart as cover, and you can use tools to decide what path it goes on. There's good verticality with enemy placement, and it shows off how far they've just come from those first few weeks. Snipers are in perches, base zombies are on the ground, tall boys and spitters occasionally spawning to keep you on your toes. It really was just top-notch co-op shooter stuff. So look, at launch the game was underbalanced. They fixed that. The first DLC added some interesting foils, but wasn't enough to return to. But with a chunk of really good content added in Children of the Worm DLC, we feel confident in what the team has put out. If in the past we would have given Back4Blood like a 6 out of 10, now I would rescore it somewhere between a 7 or an 8, which is anywhere between good to great in our book. Now keep in mind that the Children of the Worm campaign is only adding 1 act, which amounts to about 2 to 3 hours of DLC. So you might want to keep waiting for that 3rd expansion, which we're pretty positive will add an additional act and therefore another few hours of gameplay. But if you are like us and wanted to give that base campaign a second try, or maybe even you haven't played the base campaign, there's more than enough here. Plus, it just takes one friend owning the DLC so that everyone else can play it, which is a nice move by Turtle Rock Studios to make up some goodwill, right? Okay, so it is a bummer that Back4Blood came out in the state that it did. If you felt burned by that in the past and can't accept that it's turned around, I'd honestly respect that. But I think you're missing out on a pretty good game. Back4Blood is back for good.
Thanks for watching our video. We've been looking forward to diving back into this game, so hopefully this helps you decide that for yourself too. If you enjoyed your time, please subscribe and comment below. We're currently streaming Nobody Saves the World on Monday nights and streaming Dying Light 2 on Wednesday nights. Follow us on our socials for specific times and updates on our streaming schedule. We got lots of new videos coming this month, so look forward to that, and we'll see you next time on another episode of The Co-op Bros.
Ah, bear trap.
I'm in a fucking bear trap right by a zombie spawn. Oh my god, dude, I went. Yeah, I got you. I'm
so
in a bear
close.
trap. Sliding in from where Bob
Oh,
walked
bear
from where
trap! Oh my god. The bear traps, dude.
Holy crap, dude.
It's endless. It's endless.
Clip every bear trap.